What's going on, guys? This is Chandler Smith, and today I'm going to talk about when it's time to get an LLC for your investment property, how to do it, and how to protect yourself from all other liability while owning your investment property. So with that being said, let's jump into it. All right, guys, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Chandler Smith, and I've been investing in real estate for the last 6+ years. I currently own 99 doors of rental real estate, and I absolutely love investing in real estate and helping others to do the same so that they can build a huge passive income for themselves just like I have. Now, with that being said, there are always risks when investing, and I do everything I can to mitigate those risks so that you don't have to worry about them, because at the end of the day, if you're going to invest, you want to be able to check out and know that you're protected. And so in this video, I'm going to show you everything you can do to protect yourself and explain everything you need to know about putting your property into an LLC. Now, before I start off, just keep in mind, I am not a lawyer, I am not an accountant. However, I do have good lawyers and accountants that have helped me through this process. And so I want to give you all of the information I can, but I also suggest that you communicate with both your lawyer and your accountant as you go through this process. The reason I decided to do this video is I recently had a gentleman reach out to me that wanted help figuring out how to structure his LLC and how to get financing. I have a lot of people that reach out and want help, and the one guaranteed way that you can get a hold of me and get my help is by going to my website and setting up a 30-minute call. Now, you can set up as many of these as you want, and when you call, the time is yours. Whatever questions you have about financing your properties, finding deals, maximizing your deals, raising rents, whatever it is, anything involving real estate investing, I'm there to help you to answer your questions. And so again, if you're interested in that, just go to www.chandlerdavidsmith.com. But I was doing this call with him, and right away he was asking me, well, Chandler, I'm trying to get financing, but everywhere I go, they're not giving me financing because they're saying they won't give my LLC financing, and I own this property in my LLC. And what he had actually done is bought a property with his LLC, and then he was trying to go and get a loan on it or refinance out. And because of that, they weren't allowing him to do a business loan because his business didn't have much of a track record and he didn't have much of a personal track record with the bank. Now, as I'm trying to work through this problem with him, I'm trying to understand his question because at first it didn't really make sense to me. And the thing that we had to clarify is if it's in an LLC, then you have to do a business loan. That's going to require a much larger down payment, and it's going to be a lot harder to go through that financing process, not to mention the fact your terms are going to be way worse when it comes to your down payment, the way that the rates are set up with them changing every 5 years on one of their ARM programs. I mean, there's all kinds of crap you have to deal with when getting commercial financing. Now, I've had to do that because you only have 10 personal loans, but every time I said personal loan on the phone, it wasn't connecting with him because he thought I was going to the bank and just borrowing money. When in reality, I should have said a conventional loan under my name, because then when you get a conventional loan under your name, you can then quit claim into an LLC so you still have liability and protection. And so it's so important to understand how this works so that you can not only protect yourself, but also still free yourself up for financing. So the reason I share this story is I think there are lots of very smart people who understand purchasing property, but don't completely understand how to protect themselves, how liability comes into play, and how that works with financing. So the first big thing you've got to remember is there are two different things. And you've got to find a way to put those things together and find a perfect combination for what you need to do. And so what I suggest to do when it comes to protecting yourself is, first off, you want to do everything you can to use those loans in your personal name first. You're going to be able to get a much lower down payment and put yourself in a substantially better situation when it comes to interest rate, fixed 30 years, all of that good stuff with financing. So right off the bat, you're not going to have it in an LLC. You're not going to have that protection. So you're going to get the loan, and immediately you're going to make sure that you have a good insurance policy. Now, there are different lines of liability, and your front line needs to be your insurance company. So you've got to make sure you're working with an individual and an organization that knows how to back you up for every kind of protection you might need for your investment property, while also keeping it within a budget that makes sense for your investment property. So that's the first thing, is once you've purchased it, you've got a conventional loan on it, then you've got to make sure that you've got a good insurance company that's insuring you. And the nice part is if you're getting a normal conventional loan under your name, every bank's going to require you to do that anyway. So just make sure that you have good insurance in place. Now, once that is in place and after you have ownership of the property, then you can quit claim that property into an LLC. Now, you can set up an LLC online if you want. I personally think it's worth a couple $100s to have your accountant or preferably your lawyer set up the proper LLC that then you can keep this investment property in. Now, I know the next big question people are going to ask is, well, Chandler, are you going to run into issues with the bank? You might, and you need to figure this out with a combination of your lawyer, your accountant, and your loan officer. I went to my loan officer. I learned the risks of my particular loan when it comes to quit claiming it over into an LLC. But remember, the big thing is the bank views things differently than the government does. As long as you've quit claimed it over, you are protected now by your insurance company and by the fact that it is in a limited liability company. So you've got kind of two things worth of protection. Now, that doesn't mean you can be an idiot. You still have to do things properly. If anyone ever writes a note or a letter or anything saying, hey, this is a risk, and you know about it and you don't fix it, you could still end up getting stuck with liability. Now, if you have insurance and a limited liability company, you're probably still safe. However, don't be an idiot just because you've got these protections in place. You want to make sure that you do things right. But the way that the government views that, or if you end up in some kind of lawsuit or something else, you need those things in place, and that way you're extremely protected. Now, on the other end, your loan officer or your bank is going to view things differently. So you want to understand what your risks are with quit claiming it over. I think every bank says they want the loan to stay in your name because they want the ability to go after you. And you've signed documents, you've done all of that, and so it's going to be that way anyways. They're still going to be able to come after you if you're not paying your bill, even though you've quit claimed it into your LLC. However, by quit claiming it, if they feel that puts their liability at risk, a lot of them will put within their agreement that, hey, we are still able to call the loan due at any time if it is in a limited liability company and we don't like that and we feel like we need to call the loan due. So that is one risk that you are taking. Now, in my mind, after talking to my loan officer, he personally had investment properties. He has never seen them go after that, never seen that been an issue. My lawyer was comfortable with it, and overall, I felt like that wasn't going to be a problem. And so I personally thought it was a good move to quit claim it over and keep it in that LLC. Now, if this is something that just stresses you out, well, then don't do it. You've got insurance, you're still probably going to be okay. Or go and do a commercial loan, which is going to be a lot more of a pain in the butt. But then right from day one, you can make sure that it is in your LLC. However, they're still going to want your name on it so that they can go after you if you're not paying your bills. And that's a little bit of gray area. I'm not going to get into that. However, this is the way I believe that you should structure it so that you're protected. And you need to talk to your loan officer, your accountant, and your lawyer to make sure that that works with you. But that's what I've done. The other thing is a lot of people are saying, well, Chandler, how many properties or units do you put per LLC? Well, the reality is I kind of view it as, all right, I've got my insurance company for each individual property they have to get through. All right, so I've already hedged my bet quite a bit. I've protected myself from a lot of risk. So I personally, after having all those conversations with those people I've listed over and over with your lawyer, your accountant, your loan officer, decided that I was comfortable having anywhere between 8 and 15 units per LLC. However, when I purchased a property that had more than that many units, so for instance, I own a 24-plex and a 32-plex, I just put those in their own LLC so that each of them has their individual LLC and their individual insurance policy. Now, that is the way that I've structured it, and from my communications that I've had, I feel I'm very protected so that if the worst does happen, I'm in a good place. However, again, this is something that it's just worth spending money on. It's worth having someone in your corner that you can say, all right, I want to know your butt is in jeopardy if crap hits the fan, and you're going to step in and help me work through this. If you're giving me advice that I'm paying for on how to structure this, because that way, if I've got a lawyer, an accountant, a loan officer that have all given me advice that I've paid for and I've done what they've told me, I know if crap does hit the fan, I not only have my insurance policy and then my limited liability company, but my lawyer and my accountant backing me to help me work through any potential problems that might occur. Now, I hope you don't feel like this video is a cop-out because I'm just deferring you to them. However, I think that is the best advice that you could get is, look, you need to invest in the right people, and this is an area you don't want to slack. The last thing I will say is if you just have 1 to 5 properties in your personal name and you haven't quit claimed them over to an LLC, and after watching this video, you're like, oh no, I haven't done any of that, I'm in trouble, what should I do? Well, here's the deal. As long as you've got insurance on your property and you're taking care of them, you're gonna be okay. You've got time to communicate to the right people and get yourself in the right position, even if it takes a couple months to get it fixed. However, do it! All right? It is not worth ever not paying for insurance or not talking to the right people because you're trying to save a buck when it could cost you a lot more than a buck. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and again, if you want any help to any of your questions, you're more than welcome to go on to chandlerdavidsmith.com and sign up for a 30-minute call. I love these calls because I love talking real estate. However, I can't talk to anyone, and that's why I set this up so that those that do put in the effort to go and set up a call, I'm more than happy to set aside 30 minutes that's purely for you. Now, with that being said, again, make sure you push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and have an awesome day. Thanks, guys.